Here Jesus is, he's tired. And he sat down by this well, which is very significant because this well is in his line of people. And he sat down because he wanted some water. But he also sat down there because he knew this woman was coming to this well. And he knew this woman needed to be saved. Just like he knew every woman in this room was coming to Laughlin. And he knew some women in this room needed to be saved. And he said to the woman, "Give me a drink." And she was kind of, in shock about that because this was a Jew. He was a Jew. And she was a Samaritan, and they're enemies. And so she was really wondering, why would you ask me to give you some water? Well, the first thing we need to look at is why this woman was even there at the well when she was there. She was there at the 6th hour, which is noontime. And normally in that culture, women would go to the well in the morning, and they would go to the well in the evening. Well, she went at noontime because she knew nobody else would be there. And she knew she didn't want to go there when anybody else was there because they knew the type of lifestyle that she was living. And so let me bring it back to us. We don't like to go where everybody else is because they know the type of lifestyle that we're living. We don't want to be exposed. But guess what? You are already exposed. For those of us who belong to God, when you walk in the room, our spirit already tells us you are not right. You are not living the way God has told you to live. Your walk is different. Your talk is different. Your look is different. You fix your hair differently. Your perfume smells different. We can have on the same perfume and yours smells just as foul could possibly be. Because you have sin in your body and it reeks. It reeks. You can't smile, you can't laugh, you hold up these fake holy hands. Put your hands down. We already know. So my first point is, your reputation is at stake. Your reputation is at stake, women of God. You have to live as God has told you to live. Stop being fake with people. Stop being fake with people. Don't come hug me and tell me you love me. I already know you don't love me. You can't love me because Christ does not live in you. Don't shake my hand. I don't want you to touch me. I am holy. Yes. Do you know that God didn't want people that were people of sin to walk on his holy ground? They weren't worthy enough to do so. I am too precious. And those of you who belong to God, you are too precious. Why are you mixing and mingling with people of the world? Why are you allowing yourself to be brought down to where they are? We talked about this weekend. We're supposed to soar above. Is that what you said, Crystal? We're supposed to be up here looking down. Why are we walking amongst everybody else? Yes. We look like everybody else. We smell like everybody else. We talk like everybody else. And God is sending us to hell just like everybody else. This woman's reputation was at stake because she had 6 husbands. As you read on, she had 6 husbands. I don't know if some of them were actually her husband or not. I know at least one of them wasn't hers because Jesus said that the one she was with wasn't hers. Some of us have had 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 husbands. Well, the truth is what it is. Every time you have sex with somebody, that's your husband. Every time you allow a man to put his tongue in your mouth, that's your husband. Every time you allow a man to touch you and caress you in places that he should not, guess what? That's your husband. Guess what? I had a husband before I had the one I have now. I had a few. And guess what? Some of you did too. Yes. You'll never say it. Yes. But we talked about transparency this weekend. Yes. I have to be transparent with you. Yes. And I was a willing participant. Yes. I was willing. Yes. But God said we cannot treat him like we treat everybody else. Right. We can't do that. He wants to be married to us. We need to be pure. That virtue that Peter was talking about, that's what we're supposed to be. Yes. That's us. Yes. But it's not. Right. We walking around and we broken because we have allowed men to enter us and deposit their junk in us. When we have not emptied ourselves of our own junk. So we got his junk, our junk, and everybody else's junk that we've decided to take on. And if you just happen to like women, guess what? You got another woman's junk too. That's not holy. That's not righteous. And it's definitely not the type of fruit that God wants. In John 15, it talks about, Jesus says that he is the vine, we are the branches. But do you know that if you are unfruitful, you will be plucked away? You will be plucked away because you are useless. This woman knew people were talking about her. She was ashamed. And I felt bad for her when I was going through this. I'm telling you, this weekend is my weekend for compassion. Because I was just thinking, that's so nasty. And God said, so were you. And I said, you know what, you're right. I was nasty, but I'm not nasty anymore. Right. But everybody in this room can't say that. Everybody in this room cannot say that. And guess what? You can be married to more than just a man. Because if you like carnal things, anything carnal, anything worldly, you know you can be married to that thing. Anything that you are devoting yourself to, that you are giving yourself to, you are married to that. When you wake up with it in the morning, you married to it. When you go to sleep with it at night, you married to it. When you thinking about it all throughout the day, guess what? You married to it. It has put a ring on your finger. You have said, I do, and so has it, and you are walking hand in hand with it, and God is not walking with you. So how much are you married to? What are you married to? And why are you married to it? And I asked God that, why are we married to so much stuff? And he said, because we like artificial things. We do. We like what men do for us. We like that he said we are cute. He said we are fine. He likes our hair. He buys us purses. He buys us shoes. He likes our figure. He likes our sweet, soft voice. Oh, you so fine. And then he beds us and he doesn't want us anymore. And then the next man comes along and he tells us the same thing. And then he beds us and he leaves us alone. And then the next man comes along and he does the same thing. He beds us and then he leaves us. And then Jesus comes along and he tells you he loves you, and he tells you he wants you, and he tells you I even died for you. And what do? We say, I don't want you. I don't want you. But God shared with me. He shared with me. He said we need to understand Jesus is not a whore. He is not a prostitute. You cannot go to him and ask him for what you want and then pay him with your fake praise. You can't pick him up off the street. You can't do that. And he's tired of it. And quite frankly, because I didn't spend a lot of time, I am too. It's some women in this room, you playing with God, and he is tired. He said his son is not your toy. His son is not your sugar daddy. His son is not your big daddy. His son is not who you call on just when you want something. He is not Walmart. He is not Target. He is not Mr. Dillard. He is not your credit card. He is none of those things. He said, that is my son. He is holy. He is pure. He is righteous. He is living water. And if you want to live, you have to see, you have to taste and see that he is good.